successful future. But after having met BJ, she totally dismissed that whole idea of going to law school, and they were very upset about it. But her father did say, quote, "But you have to accept things, and this is what she wanted to do. You accept it and go on. Benjamin was part of our family," end quote. So they were like, alright, it's not exactly perfect, but we can accept it. You know, we will take him into our family. Now, on the other hand, Benjamin's mother said that her son had changed so much after meeting Erika. He used to be very close with his family, always visiting, always calling, but that stopped completely once they got together. He would later say of the relationship, quote, "I just wanted to make Erika happy. It was extreme," end quote. The new relationship also appeared to interfere with his job in the Navy. Erika was unhappy with the fact that Benjamin was always traveling, as she knew in advance, but she was unhappy with it nonetheless. And he would be gone for long stretches of time. She would call and harass him frequently. She would say that she was having anxiety attacks and bouts of depression while he was gone. And once, while he was in Alaska for training, she flew up to visit him, which was against the rules, and he got in a lot of trouble for that, according to BJ's parents. All this stress from his wife made him feel torn between his relationship and his career, and they felt that he, quote, torpedoed his job. He became unruly and insubordinate, and he even got a large tattoo. I'm not going to say the word for it, but it is pretty much the worst symbol that you could get tattooed on your body. I think you all know what I'm talking about. Okay, without me having to say another word, you know what I'm talking about. And I guess his family did not expect him to get such a hateful tattoo on his body or to be so insubordinate at his job. He was court-martialed for multiple counts of absent without leave or AWOL. And a Navy prosecutor said that BJ had developed, quote, utter disregard for authority, end quote. In the year 2000, he was dishonorably discharged from the Navy. After he was discharged, he and Erika moved near Erika's parents in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and reportedly her parents gave them money to open up a scrapbooking store where they both worked. And it seemed like a perfect job or business for Erika because she was obsessed with scrapbooking. Erika believed that shortly after their wedding, BJ had been unfaithful to her. She was never able to get him to admit it, and she said that that was because he has no sense of guilt or remorse at all. She claims that this affair, this alleged affair, put her into a horrible state of depression, and she could hardly even get out of bed. And after that, she started having anxiety and panic attacks, and she began taking Xanax for this. At this time, her friends said she started being a very jealous person. BJ and Erika became obsessed with the movie Natural Born Killers. Now this is about, I've never seen the movie, but I looked it up, and supposedly it is about a couple who travel across Route 666 conducting mass murders behold, they never reappeared. And family became very nervous, as you could understand, and they contacted the Ocean City police to report Joshua and Jeannie missing. So, the Ocean City police went to the condominium where Joshua and Jeannie had been staying, and they found their car parked outside. Nothing wrong with the car, it was just parked there. And then they went inside the unit and found all the belongings of the couple. Nothing looked amiss whatsoever, but they weren't there. It seemed like they had just vanished without a trace, and the police, for some reason, really believed that they were the victims of foul play. But unfortunately, there were zero clues. They had no idea where even to begin to look for the couple. But a few days later, they would she said it was all BJ. She had nothing to do with it. She said that she was frightened of BJ and she had to play along with him or else he would kill her or kill her loved ones. She told the police that they had met Josh and Jeannie on a shuttle bus that was heading to a nightclub called Secrets, Seacrits nightclub. And they didn't realize you needed exact change. And they didn't have it. So there was this couple who were complete strangers who offered to pay their fare for them, which was really sweet. So they got to talking while they were on the shuttle, and then they hung out at the nightclub, and then they invited the couple back to their condo to go in the hot tub. And then she said that the couple stole her purse. Erika said that. And BJ pulled out a gun on Joshua and Jeannie. And she said to the police, quote, "He jumped at the opportunity to be able to whack somebody, you know. Forgive the phrase, but that's what BJ would say," end quote. So, according to Erika, the couple ran to the bathroom, shut the door, he started shooting through the door, and ultimately he killed them. And then she had to help him get rid of the bodies, or else he would hurt her. That's the way she was telling it. So she agreed to take the police to the dumpster where they had gotten rid of the bodies. So as she rode along in the car, she was making some small talk with the officers, and she said, "Do you think I'm pretty? Do you think I'm a good person?" And she ultimately led them to a dumpster behind a grocery store in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So they had left the state of Maryland to dispose of the bodies. And then she also mentioned to them at that time that they had dismembered the bodies as well, something that the police were shocked to hear. Although I feel like we are not that shocked because it sounds like people get dismembered a lot in true crime, as horrible as that is for me to say. But in the run-of-the-mill, crimes out there, it's not as if police are constantly coming across dismembered bodies, So these police were expecting to maybe find dead bodies in the trash, which I'm sure they were not very used to as well, but now they're being told these are going to be dismembered bodies, and they were taken aback. But anyway, once they got there, there was nothing in the dumpster. So of course they looked into, the route that the garbage pickup had taken, and they located the site where these dumpsters had been dumped out. And 9 days later, they were able to recover the torso and 2 arms of Josh and just 1 leg of Jeannie, and that's all they ever found. And in truth, they were never able to definitively say how Jeannie was actually killed. Other than what, Erika might say, they didn't have any factual evidence telling them this is how she died. They knew that Josh had been killed by gunshot, though. The police started looking through the photos that they found at the Sifrits' condo, and they saw that after the murder, the couple had continued on with their vacation like nothing had ever happened. They went and played mini golf. They ate crab, they swam in the ocean, and they smiled in all of the pictures. And you could even see in some of the photos that Erika was wearing a necklace with Josh's bloody ring on it. Okay. This is the woman who said she only went along with this for her husband. have separate trials. At Benjamin's trial, they had found a witness. It was a woman that they found in some of the photos, and her name was Melissa Sealing. She was someone that they had just met there on vacation, and she testified that she went through the same ritual that Joshua and Jeannie had gone through. They had met, in a bar or nightclub there in Ocean City, and they had gone up to the condo with Erika and BJ, and then they had accused Melissa and her boyfriend of stealing Erika's purse. She said that BJ pulled out a gun, and he had even told her that another couple had been shot by them a few days ago. I don't think she believed it, but she knew something was just terribly wrong at this point, and she started frantically searching for this purse. To say, I didn't take the purse, let me help you find the purse. And as she was searching, BJ looked behind a pillow that Melissa said she already searched under, and nothing was there. But he looked behind a pillow, and he found the purse. He's like, okay, here it is. So Melissa and her friend were unharmed, and they left, luckily. But according to the detective on the case, Detective Bernal, he said that Joshua Ford, the one who was murdered, was 6'2" and had a black belt in karate and probably was not as submissive as Melissa had been. Quote, Melissa didn't ask any questions, she just knew that if she did, she was going to get hurt. It didn't go that way with Josh and Jeannie. So he's suggesting that Melissa played the game that he wanted her to play, but that Josh and Jeannie did not. And they were not submissive, and that is why they wound up getting killed. Now, at the trial, BJ reported that he was actually sleeping in the car when the murders took place, and it was Erika who had committed the murders. And that when he saw the crime scene, he agreed to help her cover up the crime, and he admitted that he was the one who did the dismemberment. He said that was his idea. Now, he wound up being convicted of second-degree murder in Jeannie Crutchley's death, but he was acquitted of all charges involving Joshua Ford. The jury foreman explained that the jury could not determine beyond a reasonable doubt that BJ had actually been the one who killed Joshua Ford. He was later sentenced to 38 years in prison, and a detective from the case vowed to make sure that Benjamin serves every last day of what could be a 35-year sentence. And the detective said, quote, I'll be at every parole hearing, even if I'm retired, and I'll make sure to bring the autopsy pictures to remind them of what he's done. his brother's name is Mark Ford. And he had just lost his 23-year-old daughter, Kelly, the year before Joshua was murdered. And she was also murdered. Her remains were found in a shallow grave in Cape Cod. Her head was never found, and her case remains unsolved. Mark said the following, quote, "I thought I was just starting to walk straighter, and now I'm walking crooked again. It's hard, real hard," end quote. Can you even imagine that? The cases are not related, but talk about terrible luck. His daughter, his 23-year-old daughter, is murdered. And then a year later, his younger brother is murdered. That's just unbelievable. So, anyway, that is the case. What are your thoughts? I'll tell you some of mine. First of all, rest in peace to Joshua Ford and Jeannie Crutchley. And my thoughts go out to their families. I can't help but think about how they tried to do a nice thing, like a very small gesture, but still, giving money to complete strangers who didn't have exact change for the bus, It shows what kind of people they were. And then how they get repaid is just unfathomable. So, the main question that I have in this case is, who was responsible? Was it Erika? Was it BJ? Or were they equally responsible? Someone must have come up with the idea first, right? But regardless, I honestly believe that they are both responsible equally. They both seemed perfectly fine right after the murders. So Erika's story that she had to do it, because she was scared. Well, I don't believe that for a minute, because she just seemed way too happy afterwards. And the piece about both of their families saying that they had changed after entering into the relationship. They're both painted as these, nice, decent, normal people, level-headed, and then they get into these relationships and they changed, presumably because of something that the other person did to them. So they were somehow manipulated, maybe. But do we believe that either one of them was originally just this nice, innocent person with a good heart? They just met the wrong person. I would say that they were what you call a match made in hell. That they both had something in them. Both had sociopathic tendencies, and getting together just brought it out in both of them. Now, wasn't it interesting that Erika didn't waste much time in throwing her husband under the bus for the crimes? But he didn't do that, at least not in the beginning. He stayed quiet. I assume that once he saw she was saying it was all him, well, he was going to go ahead and say,